What's up, internet? It has been a while since I kind of did like a little sit-down video, but I figured it was kind of time to do a little refresher, a little update. Earlier this month was my anniversary of being vegan. I've been vegan for 2 years now. I kind of forgot about it because honestly, like 2 years, that's not a long time. So I kind of put it in the back of my mind, and then I remembered like just a couple of days ago that it's my anniversary. So I've been vegan for 2 years, and I've been meat-free for 5 years, but I don't really, count that as like doing much. For that length of time that I was vegetarian, I was still consuming all those products like eggs and milk and processed foods that had animal products in them. And I just had no idea that there was I guess it was just part of the indoctrination, right? It's not that I had no idea being vegetarian, but I just believed the lie. I believed that humane lie that, dairy cows are still happy, and that chickens are happy laying eggs, and that animals at the circus were okay, and SeaWorld is fine, and the leather industry isn't murderous, I was just content with where I was, but I think everybody knows the universal law that the comfort zone is not where you want to be. You want to always be evolving and always be making those changes, to better yourself. So I've been without meat for 5 years, but I don't really count that as much because vegetarians, there's not really anything as an ethical vegetarian. I thought I was being ethical, but I realize now that those 3 years that I was without meat, I was not living in alignment with, my morals. I knew that, I don't want animals to have to die on my behalf. And here I was still participating in it. And it was disturbing once I realized 3 years into being vegetarian, I realized oh my gosh, I have to go vegan now, don't I? And it wasn't oh gosh, I have to go vegan. It was oh my gosh, I have to go vegan. What am I doing? I was just wasting time, thinking that I was doing the right thing, It's really exciting to be vegan in this time. Honestly, this is the tipping point before the world starts to understand that we need to be vegan, we need to be plant-based, at least when it comes to our dietary habits, because morality aside, I suppose the planet really can't sustain the way that we've been treating it. The vegan meat industry has been skyrocketing, and we know that all these different products have been coming out, and now Dunkin' Donuts even now has the Beyond meat option, which has been pretty cool. So we know that it's getting far more popular. It's literally everywhere, to the point where there aren't even the excuse of convenience, because you can still go to Taco Bell, or if you're in Europe, you're in the UK, you can go to McDonald's and get a vegan burger. What excuses do we have? I think it boils down to, honestly, that 2 weeks period of having to transition. That's the most uncomfortable part, this 2-3 weeks of having to transition to. But what's scarier than doing it is the idea of doing it. The idea of going vegan is how I have to make all these changes, and the worst part is I have to tell my friends that I'm vegan. That's probably a nightmare. I really don't remember when I told my friends I was vegetarian, but I still don't remember when I went vegan years later, and I told them no, I don't eat eggs or fish or anything like that anymore. Nothing. There's that little stigma, and maybe that's the hardest part. But are animals not worth that? The death of animals isn't worth telling your friends, hey, I refuse. I'm not gonna eat the same stuff that you're all eating at that restaurant. That's too important. That's too important, and it's worth what's happening to animals, I guess. It's kind of a disheartening idea, but I think that there are a lot of other factors that are coming into play. The environmental aspect is about to take off when it comes to the impact that the animal agriculture industries have on the environment. That's about to start taking off significantly. When it comes to the climate crisis, we're running out of time when it comes to that. So I think it's only a matter of time until we can push past those lobbyists and the influence of the animal agriculture industry, and we can actually make some significant changes when it comes to how we view animal products, whether it's they have a warning that they cause cancer on them, whether there's a carbon tax on them. There are going to be things that make meat a lot less attractive, make animal products a lot less attractive going forward. If you are interested in eliminating your usage of animals, I recommend trying, different vegan challenge websites like Challenge 22 is probably the most popular one. Veganuary is another big one. The animals really do need us. Like, I'm sitting here like making a YouTube video, but like those slaughterhouses are still running. Those animals are still getting killed.